I believe that when it comes to XCN, I may have potentially found some good news for its future, even though nothing I say is financial advice. Let's take a look at this right here. We'll see that back on May 25th, so it's not the most recent news out there, but in my opinion, not many people talked about it, so I have to talk about it because I think this could be so amazing for its future. Again, on May 25th, an account called Chain, right? It says that Chain has now partnered with Onyx DAO to launch the standalone Onyx AI app. Powered by Chain Cloud and Chain Agents, this autonomous agent handles blockchain tasks across EVM chains and more. Now, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine, but I'm just saying, even besides that point, yeah, it just says that pretty much. And I think it is pretty cool because it says that as of that date, at least, right? It says now live on the Onyx Ledger and powered by XCN. So the way to take a look at it is that, is this the greatest news of all time? Absolutely not. But what I like about this is the fact that I like the direction in which this is heading because, of course, when we think about Onyx, right, we don't really think about something that has an aspect of AI or something that can even really be involved with AI in the first place. But seeing stuff like this, it truly showcases that, Onyx, it has more tools in its toolbox. You know what I mean? Because if we take a look at one of Onyx's, competitors, which is Zebec, right? Zebec has aspects of AI-based PayFi. But when it comes to Onyx, it doesn't really ever promote like anything remotely related to AI, it feels like to me. So seeing stuff like this is good because I think AI is going to be a big narrative and it's one of the staples that people often focus on. Like, of course, people like blockchain gaming, NFTs, DeFi, whatever, but then AI is already one of the established sectors in this place that people do care about. And I think it's going to be a big narrative moving forward. So I think something like Onyx doing stuff like this, it's a big thumbs up for me. And I would like to see more actually moving forward because in my opinion, just being focused on launching the mainnet of Goliath, which is supposedly going to be this good layer 1 blockchain, we'll have to wait and see. There has to be more layers than that in my opinion. It's okay in my opinion, but again, there needs to be more. So this is a direction in which I do like Onyx is heading. Again, this in and of itself, in like a vacuum, I would say, isn't the greatest news of all time, but I like it because I think this could be a major catalyst for the future of Onyx, right? I would like to see more, partnerships regarding like something like AI and whatnot. So I like, again, this thing. I think it's a good Kickstarter, if anything, right? And when it comes to Onyx, what I like about it is that as of right now, it just gives me the vibe of like a miniature version of XRP and XLM, but maybe with a lot more layers, because Ripple and Stellar, I get it. It's the traditional project to, really pay attention to, according to many people, when compared to like, other projects within the space, which is like, payments, global trade and finance. It's like the staple, right? It's like the market leaders. But when it comes to Onyx, it just kind of feels like it's not as boring. It feels like it's more interesting. And we have to think about this as well. When it comes to Onyx, it feels like the better days are in front of it, right? But when you take a look at something like Ripple, for instance, of course, there was very good news regarding the SEC nonsense hopefully being gone forever. That's amazing. But we have to think about this logically. For this cycle alone, right? What news could top that when it comes to Ripple? I think nothing. Like, let's say Ripple got a very amazing partnership. That cannot top the good news that it had recently, For the longest time possible, everyone felt like, Ripple's so good and all this type of stuff, if only the Ripple and SEC nonsense was gone. But then now that it's hopefully allegedly gone, maybe forever moving forward, it just kind of feels like nothing can really top that, right? So then maybe the price could go up when it comes to XRP, hypothetically. But then when it comes to the hype and attention as to what is really going on with Ripple, it just kind of feels like nothing can top that. But when it comes to Onyx, again, there's many things that can top, what we see as of right now. More AI partnerships, let's say, regarding AI, I should say, right? Let me rephrase that. Or like, let's say Onyx got partnered with this other project or it launches something, amazing, right? Or let's say, the test net of Goliath goes very successfully. If Ripple gets a new partnership, who cares? Let's say it does this, does that. No one really cares, right? But when it comes to Onyx, even like pretty good news can already kind of like create a lot of hype and attention, in my opinion, especially during a fully fledged bull run. So I like the direction in which it's heading. Again, I haven't given up on the idea of $1 when it comes to XCN, but even still, despite that, we have to take a look at how even though XCN is kind of like stagnating a little bit, we're still not in a fully fledged type of fifth gear type of altcoin season. So it's just a waiting game really for me at this point because if the market really does wake up in a massive way, XCN has proven that, you know what, historically, it has pretty much somewhat went along with the ride. It wasn't the best performing thing out there, but you know what, it still went along with the ride. So the way I view it is this. If the altcoin season looked very fantastic, and let's say the sentiment when it comes to altcoins is way better than before, I just don't see why what we saw back then can't just very well be a glimpse of what XCN could truly maybe reach during a fully fledged bull run. So $1, that's still what I believe in. And if let's say, you know, XRP went to a market cap of around $1 trillion or whatever during a fully fledged bull run, are we saying that XCN, you know, can't, let's say at that point, go to a market cap of around, you know, $33.5 billion, which it would actually have considering current circulating supply if it were to go to the price of $1. I get it, it's around a 54x from here, so it may seem a little bit impossible, but really, we have to take a look at, again, the market cap it would have at that point. It wouldn't be too ridiculous, in my opinion. And also, when it comes to XCN, we have to consider how the exchange listings aren't necessarily the best of all time, and still, we were able to see that type of, like, you know, movement when it comes to XCN not too long ago. And I think, if anything, XCN doesn't really need any more exchange listings, even though it would be good. But in my opinion, it's already sufficient because with the exchange listings it had, it was already able to do what we saw historically speaking, despite, you know, even at that time, in my perspective, wasn't even really like a fifth year type of altcoin season. It still did that. So if let's say the altcoin space did way better and it's an actual fifth gear type of altcoin season, I don't see why the exchange listings that XCN already has isn't sufficient enough for it to do good in theory. I'm still staying patient though, because I can only control myself really when it comes to this, which is just accumulating, holding, and just waiting. I've been doing that throughout this whole time anyways. But again, I do like news like this when it comes to Onyx. I feel like better days are in front, not behind it. And again, all I can do right now is just stay very patient. Some people out there wonder why I don't pull up a price chart and draw some random triangles. Here's the thing. No matter what I draw on a price chart, I can draw any random thing, right? Like, you know, I can draw random triangles, say, oh, it's a falling wedge pattern and all this. I can draw SpongeBob, whatever. It doesn't matter because the market's not going to listen to what I have to draw. So instead of doing stuff like that, or should I say pay attention, right, to what I have to draw, you know. But again, besides that point, instead of doing stuff like that, I would much rather take a look at good news, right? Updates when it comes to Onyx, right? Take a look at, you know, the fundamentals. Because if I'm only taking a look at the price chart when it comes to XCN, I would think that, oh, it's a project that did pretty good, but it's kind of stagnating, you know, it's not doing good and all this. But then it's beyond that, right? We have to take a look at the altcoin space as of right now. We also have to take a look at, you know, the fundamentals of Onyx and what it's really trying to achieve. Again, trying to become like somewhat of a miniature version of Ripple and Stellar. But in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with being a watered down version of Ripple and Stellar, not to mention as well. I kind of feel like when I take a look at the price chart of XCN only, it doesn't really paint the full picture, if that makes sense. So that's why I don't make those type of like, you know, pulling up a price chart, drawing some random triangles. I just don't do that. Again, I'd rather focus on stuff like this. And $1 during this bull run would not surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.